Hello everyone, my name is Jessica Archambault. I'm a Microsoft Outlook specialist at Académie Sylbert. My goal for this presentation is to show you how you can keep your workday under control using the M3Z method. With this method, you'll be able to centralize all your tasks and email in one single place. You'll also be able to stay focused on your priorities and leave the office with an empty inbox every single day. Now, this may sound too good to be true, and we get that reaction a lot when we do our training sessions. So this is exactly why we've created this video to show you how you can achieve this using Outlook and good task management practices. Before we get started, this video is not the actual M3Z training, but a quick demonstration to show you how M3Z may just be the answer to the task management system you were looking for. M3Z stands for Managing with 3 Zones. To create the M3Z method, we were inspired by the greatest thinkers in the field of productivity and organization, such as Stephen Covey, David Allen, Michael Linenberger, and Robert Maurer. Even by merging the knowledge of these great thinkers, we felt like there was a missing piece between these theoretical best practices and how they transfer into an actual tool that can help us manage our daily work without being too complex for regular Outlook users. So we decided to combine our expertise and create M3Z. We first tested this new method within our team, and given the excellent results that we've obtained, we were very excited to share it with our customers and take them to the next level of task management with Outlook. In order to apply M3Z, you need to be an Outlook for PC user. Also, if you currently have over 25 pending emails in your inbox, you will definitely save time and energy with M3Z. We often get asked if this training is intended only for management positions, and the answer is no. Anyone in the company who receives more tasks and emails that they can process in a single day will benefit from M3Z. The only prerequisite is to be looking for a solution for better task and email management and be open to explore the full potential of Outlook to do so. When it comes to email and task management, we've noticed that there are 6 types of Outlook users. The first one is the squirrel. The squirrel will just keep everything in his inbox. And then the printer type. That's someone who prints email to organize them and then will write notes on the email directly. Then there is the peeker. So a peeker is someone who will have a quick look at his email, probably on his cell phone, but he will only officially respond later when he's back at his desk, making sure to read everything for at least a second time. Then there's the copyist. This one has a very special techniques for follow-ups. A copyist will CC himself on every sent email, so that way the emails that comes back in the inbox, that's his reminder to do a follow-up. And yes, we see it very often. Then there's the reply happy type. The reply happy is someone who will jump in Outlook at the sight of a new email. The quicker he responds to that email, the more productive he feels. His worst fear is having unread emails. And then there's the post-it type. That's someone who uses sticky notes as reminders for important things. They can be real post-its or virtual post-its. He may also have taken it to the next level with a color-coded system. Unfortunately, regardless of your type, you often feel overwhelmed, too busy managing all your emails and the task that lies beneath them. The consequences are important because you don't work in contentment. You feel like you're dropping the ball, you forget to answer an email, you're constantly being disturbed. You don't prioritize or very little your task, and finally, you quickly lose control of your days at work. There are 2 main reasons why users will have numerous emails in their inbox. The first one, the email requires an action, and you're waiting on an information to respond to that email, so you leave it in your inbox as a reminder. After a few days or weeks of doing so, you end up with an uncontrollable amount of emails, and it becomes almost impossible to make sure that you keep track of everything that needs to be done. Then the second reason why most people leave emails in their inbox, it's because you don't know what to do with the email. You don't know how to process it or even where to file it. Therefore, you just leave it in your inbox in case you might need it later. To make you feel better, I'll share with you some statistics from 2011 that are nowadays still a big part of the issue with task and email management. 56% of workers will spend more than 2 hours a day managing their email. 38% will receive over 100 emails on a daily basis. Without an effective email management system, it's very normal that you don't feel in control of your inbox. 70% receive too much information. Therefore, you need to be able to quickly sort what's important and what's not. And the last one, which is probably the main reason why it's so hard to get a significant amount of work done in a day, 65% of workers will check their inbox every 5 minutes, whether it's on their computer, on their cell phone, or even on their cell phone while they were working on the computer. So it looks like we've forgotten how to make phone calls and we're having conversations over emails. Also, being able to work uninterrupted for 45 minutes or an hour, which is, by the way, the most effective way to get things done, seems to be a luxury that only people not busy can afford. With that being said, considering that you spend an average of 28% of your time in your inbox, so that's 2 hours a day based on a 35-hour week, do you know the real cost of poor or non-existing email management in your business? With that being said, considering that you spend an average of 28% of your time in your inbox, so that's 2 hours a day based on a 35-hour week, do you know the real cost of poor or non-existing email management in your business? We're talking around 73 days per employee towards going through, reading, and reading over and over emails left in their inbox. So here's a good example of a very standard way to handle an email. So you read the email, nothing urgent, so you just leave it in your inbox. You may even mark it as unread as a reminder that it still needs to be addressed. Then 30 minutes later, you reopen the email, you read it, and then you decide you'll do it later. And in the end, by the time you actually handle that email, you've probably read it several times. And this is just one example of a bad email management, and there are many other opportunities to save time processing your inbox. So you can easily understand how this method can help you save more than 1 hour a day. We often get asked what's the return on investment of applying M3Z. And based on an hourly wage of $24, multiply by the 5 hours a week you'll save with the M3Z method, that represents over $6,000 a year per employee. So if you multiply this number by the amount of employees applying M3Z, then you'll have a good idea of your return on investment, but also of the cost of not training employees on good email and task management practices. The M3Z method is based on the skyline principle created by Michael Linenberger. So your skyline is your furthest point of view. When you're driving in your car, you need to make sure that you act promptly on what's happening right in front of you, but also keep an eye on what's coming up so you can anticipate your future actions. And this is an ongoing process because you see more and more of the road ahead of you as you keep driving. Now you can apply the same principle with your list of tasks. You will end up with this type of three-zone system based on two criteria: priority and time. A high priority task needs your attention as soon as possible. A normal priority is something you may address today, but that can wait if need be. And then a low priority task is something not urgent, that if you have a chance, you might get it done. So in front of you, you're seeing your short-term priorities, and beyond the skyline is all the other tasks that don't need your attention right now. But as you keep driving through your days at work, these tasks will show up in your normal or high priority section. So let's see how this translates into Outlook. Using M3Z requires some configuration in your Outlook to-do bar. So this is the final result. So you get 3 zones based on the priority level of your task. A high priority is for your must do today. Your normal section is for what you would like to do today. And finally, your low priority section is for anything not yet prioritized or that are considered beyond your skyline. And your taskbar will automatically be updated daily based on the date you've set for your task reminders. The M3Z method addresses two areas: task management and email management. Now, combining best practices in these two areas will allow you to apply 100% of the method. So during the training, participants will learn the 4 steps of an efficient email management process. Because this is no news, email is probably the main channel of communication in today's businesses. Studies have shown that an individual will read an email subject between 5 to 8 times before he actually handles that email. So to avoid this, you need a simple and quick process so you can handle your emails at the first reading. So the first reading of an email, this is what we recommend. First, you might decide to delete it and do it right away. And remember that if you reply to that email, you already have a copy in your sent items. So that extra copy in your inbox is probably not useful. Then you might decide to reply to it right away. Anything that can be done within 2 minutes, even though if it's not urgent, you should do it right away. Okay? Otherwise, you're just losing time reprocessing the same information. Then you might want to keep that information, so you might as well file it, and you need to do it right away. And to be able to do that quickly, you need a very simple filing system. And this is something we're showing participants during the training. Also, if it's an email that don't need your attention right away, it's going to take you more than 2 minutes to get it done. Then you want to transform it into a task, sorry. So it's out of your inbox and into your task management system. So let's see how to apply M3Z in Outlook. This is not my actual Outlook account, but our demo account, so I can play around with it. But I tried to make it as accurate as possible to show you how I apply M3Z at work. So in the morning when I come in, I don't need to ask myself, what do I need to do today? M3Z will do it for me. So here on the right side, I have my list of tasks. This is what needs to be done today. These may be tasks that were added in Outlook today, yesterday, or 6 months ago, or even a year ago. But today, this is my list of tasks. That way I can quickly get into action because my list is already prioritized. So this is ideal because it takes only like less than 5 minutes to review this short list of tasks. It's just more efficient than working with a huge list of to-dos. So if I go here in my task folder, I will just show you what's the regular list of tasks that you would find usually in Outlook. So usually the default setting for Outlook would look like something like this. So you would get like a huge list of tasks, some red stuff in there. So this is not very efficient when you're trying, to see what are your priorities for the day. So this is why it's a lot more efficient to work with M3Z just like this. So like I've said before, you need to do some settings, and this is actually something that we do with the participant in our training session, but in the end, this is the view that you will get. So here in my high priority section, these are my must do today. And then once these are done, I will start tackling my things I would like to get done today. But really my focus is to empty that upper section here. And what's great about M3Z is that it's easy to manage priorities because honestly, even if I plan my day ahead, it never actually goes exactly as planned because there's always a number of unforeseen events. But it's easy for me to say yes or no because I know exactly what my priorities are for today and if I can make room for that new request. So M3Z will be a very positive addition in your work process. All right, and then we have our lower priority section here. So usually I keep this section collapsed just like this. Okay, so I only review them once a week, usually on Mondays. So I will look into this list, and once I've reviewed them, then I will collapse this just so it doesn't create noise in my priorities that I have here. So if I realize that a task is no longer a normal priority, I can simply drag it in my low priority section, just like this. So it's very easy to review and update it along the day. Of course, during the training, we will go through all the specifics of M3Z. Once you have a well-organized task management system, it's easy to empty your inbox on a daily basis, which we will do together now. So I have 4 emails here that I will process with you to demonstrate how efficient this method is. So the first email that I have here is from Cindy. She wants me to call back one of our client. This is not an emergency because otherwise she would have called me. So this is important. This is definitely something I want to do today, but not right away. So I will transform it into a task. All right, so I make sure that my subject line refers to the action that needs to be taken. So that's pretty good. So this is something I want to do for today. So when you're using M3Z, we're using only three information: the subject line, the start date. So start date is when you are planning to do this task, and then a priority. So this is high priority. So this is a must do today. I really want to call this customer today. And then as you can see, the email gets inserted into my task, so I don't have to look for details when I'm going to be calling that customer. I have all the information here gathered in my task. I'm just going to click on save and close. And as you can see, the email is no longer in my inbox. It's now in my list of tasks right here. So the idea when I'm processing email is that I read my email. I didn't have time to do it in less than 2 minutes, so I transferred it into my list of tasks and it got prioritized and set for today. Now I'm ready for the next email. So I often get asked, how often should we look at emails? And my answer is the lesser the better. So it depends mainly on your position and what's your responsibility. So if you're in a management position, you should check them maybe like 4 times a day. So in the morning, mid-morning, returning from lunch, and at the end of the day. Now, you may need to look at your email more frequently, and that's okay, as long as it's something you do once you're done with a task and not constantly interrupting yourself to check new email. So this can make a huge difference on your on the time you have available to get things done. So the next email is a notification from Joanne. She's letting me know that this customer wants to schedule an Office 365 impact mapping analysis. So this is just for my information. Joanne is in charge of following up with the client, so I don't need to keep it. So I'm simply going to delete this email. The next email, this one is from Mario. So he's sending me an idea for an Excel training we're working on. So actually, I already have a task for this one, not for today. So I'm going to go in my list of tasks here, and I'm going to do a quick search with Excel. So there it is. So this is our Excel dashboard project. So I'm currently at the state of creating the manual, but this email, I'm going to use it at a later time. So I'm just going to copy this email. I'm going in my task. Oops, sorry about that. There it is. So I'm actually organizing things with the table here. So designing practice exercise, perfect. So I'm just copying the email here at index section. So when I get to that point, I'll have the information right here handy. Perfect. And now I just need to save and close this one. So I'll go back in my inbox, and this one I don't need to keep because I have it in my task. So the next one that I have, this is our weekly digest for the Office 365 changes. So this is like a newsletter you would get. So sometimes they have, like important information or something you want to keep, and sometimes you just don't want to keep it. So you just simply delete it. So if I do want to keep it, then I'm using categories to file my email. So I'm just going to right click here, and this is going to go in my weekly digest. I already have one for all the other types of newsletter, but these ones I like to group them together because I refer to them very often. So I'll just click on this, and then I drag my email in my kept messages folder. So the purpose of this folder will be explained in details in the training, but I wanted to point out that before I had no choice but to file emails in a very structured list of folders and subfolders. And I myself got to the point where I ended up having such an extensive filing system that a lot of emails just stayed in my inbox because I didn't know where to put them away, or I didn't want to create a new folder just to file like a single email. But nowadays, there are many tools to avoid this type of hectic filing system, and filing using categories will be demonstrated during our M3Z training. So I'm just going to open this folder here, and as you can see, I have all my emails. They're grouped within these different categories here. And I don't have like 30 categories either. I have a big one is called to keep. So anything I want to keep just go in that category, and all the other ones I group with specific titles. So if I go in my weekly digest here, then I can quickly have access to all my weekly digests. So when you're filing an email, your goal in the end is to be able to find it quickly. So let's say I'm looking for an email that I got from Joanne, and it's regarding uh, ABC company. So it's already up here. Perfect. So as you can see, I can, using, Outlook filters, I can quickly find my email, even though I don't have a very extensive list of folders. So by searching in a single folder, it really helps saving time. So if currently you cannot locate an email within 10 seconds, so that's an indicator that your filing system could be improved. Now let's return to our inbox. So back in the inbox, I had 4 emails and now I have 0. So when I'm checking email, I process them all at once. Then I go straight to my list of tasks and start tackling my higher priority. So I'll make sure I'm done with my high priorities before I actually go down my list of normal priority or say yes to something new. One of the most satisfying action with M3Z is to mark a task as complete. So you'll start your day with a list of 15, 20 tasks, and you'll be able to see your list get shorter and shorter as you get things done. So let's say I'm done preparing the approving. I have approved the agenda here for the executive committee, so I can simply click on that red flag here. There you go, and now it's done. All right, so I also put my personal task here as well in my to-do bar, such as this one here, changing furnace filters. This is actually a recurrent task that will pop up every 6 months. So if I need to reorder some filters, then I already have all the information here, so access to the website, the different types and models, and delivery options. So it's very easy for me to get this task done here. So this is great. So I've done that, so I can just mark it as complete from here as well. And as you can see, it's off the list. So one last thing I want to show you that is also part of the M3Z training is how to work with your task folder. So I'm in my task folder here. I have my huge list of tasks of all my to-dos. And by the way, if you've tried using Outlook Tasks before, you've probably ended up with that huge list of tasks in your inbox, and you've probably just abandoned using tasks because it was just too heavy to manage. But as you've seen, it's a lot easier with M3Z. So not only I'm in control of my tasks, but I'm also a lot more proactive. Per example, I'll quickly pull out a list of all my follow-ups that needs to be done. Just like this, one single click, right? So we'll show you during the training how to create this type of filter view. So whenever I delegate a task or I send out a request, I plan my follow-up just to make sure that we're on track with delays and that nothing falls through. And I also have a list of all my current projects. So I'm just going to click on it here. There you go. So this is very helpful when I'm asked what's the status on the Excel dashboard project, for example. So at a glance, I can quickly respond that I will be working on creating the manual next week. So it's very efficient. And also for my collaborative project, like this one here, I'm working with Danielle on creating a 1-hour planner training session. So I'm using Outlook to plan when I will need to work on a specific action in this collaborative project, but all the project's information is stored in OneNote where it is shared with all the other collaborators and it's accessible in one click. So if I open my task here, so this is my link that points to OneNote. So I'll just open it here so you can see it quickly. There you go. So this is just a list of tasks that Danielle and I are sharing, and we're working on it. We have some links to documents we're using. Okay, so by the way, we also offer OneNote training, and this is usually like the second step after M3Z to organize and share information, meeting notes, and collaborate on small projects. So I'm just going to close it. Perfect. So that way, M3Z really becomes the hub for both my individual and collaborative tasks. So everything is in one single place, and this is how you actually take control over all your to-dos and really save time. So this was just a quick demo of the M3Z method, and our training contains so much more tips and time-saving tools that can be beneficial at 3 levels in your organization. If you're an employee, you get a clear sight of your workday. Also, you'll be able to find emails in less than 10 seconds. And finally, you'll be able to get the satisfaction of leaving the day with an empty inbox, knowing that you have an efficient task management system that you can rely on. Now, if you're in charge of a team, then you'll be able to focus on your high return on investment tasks. Also, it will be easy to follow all your ongoing projects using M3Z. Plus, having all your tasks centralized in one single place will truly simplify your task management system. Now, if you're in charge of the organization, then you can increase your company's productivity by roughly 1 hour a day per employee. So this is of significant value. Your company will also avoid costly delays and loss of information. And you will provide your employees with a more organized work environment. M3Z is the task management system that will help you save time and simplify how you prioritize your work. The first thing our participants experience when they start using M3Z is no more oopses. They're in control of their to-dos because they rely on their system to remind them at the right time instead of having this constant pressure of making sure they're not forgetting something important. Also, because you identify your high priorities every day, you know you need to tackle them first before heading to your, if possible, today group of tasks. And even though you haven't completed everything you had planned at the end of the day, you're confident that you've accomplished what was important and that the rest can be addressed at a later date. So you feel more satisfied and get less stress leaving the office. It's that simple. Alright, so that's it for today's demo. If you have any question or would like to book an M3Z training session at your company's site or online, please contact one of our training advisors at the information you see on your screen. You can also visit our website to get more information on Sylbert and our other Microsoft Office training programs, including Word, Excel, OneNote, and Office 365. Until then, I wish you all a very good day.